Hello everybody, I'm Skip Alzheimer and welcome to the avgeeks Lunchtime streaming show. We just watched Gertie the Dinosaur, which was originally made by Winsor McCay and was originally something that was done live. So they would show the animation of Gertie, and then there would be an actual person who was like his Gertie's trainer that would be up front with a whip and would be doing all these different thing, so it would be this kind of interactive performance. Later, they added that little animated person, and then it looks like for distribution, they added this, kind of backstory and the bet and all that stuff. But yeah, Winsor McCay, phenomenal illustrator from the turn of the century. If you have not checked it out, Little Nemo and Slumberland. Check out some of the big folio books because they were these immensely beautiful, incredibly crazy, surreal. Also did Dreams of a Rarebit Fiend, which were just insane dreams and all this stuff. And he was also a political cartoonist as well. But this Gertie's kind of interesting, but because I guess he was like, oh, here's this new medium, maybe I can do something with this. Yeah, really pretty amazing stuff. So I have a 16 print of that. The original was probably 35, and I don't know if it still exists. It might not exist anymore. Anyways, I started the whole shebang with a quick video tour of my archive in the back, where all the films are. And it's actually a couple years old, so things have changed and shifted. But somebody noticed, like, hey, there's a Peter Pan record on the wall. Like, what is that? Well, it's fake. It's not a real Peter Pan record. It is basically a plastic film can that I broke and this was like a last minute costume. I do a lot of last minute costumes. I went to it's a Halloween party, so it's kind of a zombie party / and they always have a theme every year. And the year that I went, it was Peter Pan, so I was like, oh, well, I'll just do a Peter Pan zombie sounds record, and then just wear that as a costume. And I actually won. I didn't win anything, but it was just, people's respect. But anyways, I don't know if you noticed, so narrated by Peter Waldron and then produced by Gershon Kingsley, who was a wonderful electronics guy. Anyway, so that doesn't exist. There is no Peter Pan record of zombie sounds. But there you go. Yeah, so you eagle-eyed people out there who are commenting on it, there you go. That's the reward you get. All right, let's learn about your town.
You may live in the country, in the suburbs, a small city, or a metropolitan area with a population of millions. Regardless of the size of your community, money and banking provide the same important benefits for everyone and fill the same kinds of human needs. To give you a better idea of how our nation's commercial banking system serves your community, we've built our own model town. Let's call it your town. There's Main Street, Town Hall, and the bank next door. Here's the supermarket and Price's drugstore, the new hospital, and the high school farther up the street. Lots of people live here. Each is different, but all of them have one thing in common: the commercial bank in your town. In his home on Elm Street, Dr. Fred Graham is getting an early start. Before leaving for the hospital to make his morning rounds, Dr. Graham spends a few moments signing checks. It's going to be a hectic day for the doctor, and like many busy people, he finds banking by mail a valuable, time-saving convenience. At 9 o'clock, the town and the bank are already buzzing with activity. Inside the bank, deposits are being made in checking and savings accounts. Checking accounts provide a safe and convenient method of transferring funds. As a matter of fact, checks have become so popular that checks are now used for the payment of more than $4 trillion of the country's bills every year, for more than 90% of all transactions. In order to process this tremendous number of checks, the bank in your town relies on high-speed modern equipment to quickly and accurately transfer money from one account to another. Interest-bearing savings accounts help people meet a variety of future expenditures, planned or unexpected. A college education, for example, or a vacation trip, medical expenses, or perhaps the down payment for a new home. Savings accounts earn interest, but by law, banks are not permitted to pay interest on checking accounts. Your bank's savings department also encourages Christmas savings, vacation clubs, and payroll savings plans. This call is an important one for druggist George Price. His new car has arrived and is waiting for him at his dealer's. On his way to his dealer's garage, George Price stops at the bank to complete the arrangements he has made for financing the purchase of his new car. The bank welcomes his loan application. The car itself will serve as collateral. And besides, George Price has been known to the bank as a friend and customer for many years. Commercial banks are one of your town's most important sources of installment loans. Bank rates are usually the lowest available. Personal loans for any worthwhile purpose are often made on the strength of a borrower's signature. Installment loans are used every day in your town to finance a vacation, buy furniture or household appliances, to pay for home repairs, or to underwrite a college education. The bank makes a profit on loans by charging interest. The profit the bank receives not only keeps it in business as a privately owned enterprise, but also enables the bank to pay interest to its savings depositors. Your town continues to grow. In one of the suburban developments, Fred Parker and his wife are building a new home. The Parkers couldn't have financed their new home without a mortgage from the bank. Mortgage loans are one of the principal means by which banks help their community grow. Fred will repay his mortgage loan in monthly installments he can manage on his income. Banks are also an important source of loans for people who wish to enlarge or modernize their homes. Even Fred's builder is paying his suppliers with bank credit. Many of the homes, stores, roads, and schools in your town could not have been built without financial assistance from your bank. This is the electronics plant. It provides jobs for a lot of people in the town. There's a big contract coming up, and the plant manager wants to expand his manufacturing facilities. The bank will finance this expansion. The plant will provide more jobs. With larger payrolls in the community, merchants and employees alike will have more money to spend. For many other businesses as well, the commercial bank is the major source of credit. The canning factory needs a new steam cooker. The supermarket uses credit to finance a large inventory. The dairy needs additional delivery trucks to service the new families who have moved to your town. Agricultural loans are also offered by the bank to help farmers buy equipment to meet operating expenses until their crops are in. Your commercial bank extends credit to factories, wholesale dealers, retail stores, large businesses, and small businesses too. Bank loans are available to each of them, and it is this vital source of credit that enables your town to expand, produce, sell, prosper, and grow. But banks are not interested only in business. They're also interested in individuals. Like Mrs. Bishop, for example, stopping for gas on her way to the bank. When her husband died, he left her a thriving hardware business and a substantial number of stocks and bonds. Mr. Bishop had made arrangements with the bank's trust officer for the bank to serve as co-executor, to assist his wife in settling the estate and carrying out the terms of his will, which his attorney had drafted. The trust department continues to manage Mrs. Bishop's investment portfolio, serves as her financial secretary by collecting and forwarding investment dividends, and sees to it that Mrs. Bishop receives the information she needs to complete and file her income tax returns. As commercial bankers, an important part of our job is to make our facilities attractive and convenient for all of our customers. Retail businesses which need change for their daily operations can get it here. On payday, we make up entire company payrolls in this area and make our facilities available for employees to cash their paychecks. Here in our main vault, customers who wish to safeguard valuable documents can rent safe deposit boxes. And this is our new drive-in window, where customers can deposit or withdraw funds without even getting out of their cars. We also have facilities for customers who have occasion to make deposits outside of regular banking hours. As businessmen, we realize that we must provide many services to meet a wide variety of needs. And as citizens, we are anxious to continue to meet the expanding financial requirements of our community. The day is over, and the doors of the bank on Main Street are closed. Tomorrow, the bank will go right on keeping people's money safe, cashing checks, transferring funds, advising people on their investments, and making loans. Loans to finance a farmer's crop, help a retailer carry his inventory, finance a new business, or help an established business expand. There will always be a continuing need for the full-service commercial bank. And as a privately owned and operated business, your bank realizes the value of helping other businesses in your community. For as your town grows and prospers, so too will your bank be able to expand its program of services and assistance. Your town is a good place to live in, and the economic heart of your town is the commercial bank on Main Street.
Some folks were pointing out in the comments, rightly so, I was going to bring it up, but, banks, they do help with growth, but sometimes they're very selective and narrow in their view of, especially if you're not the right gender or the right color or the right religion, the the people that administered loans and helped invest in growth weren't always invested in equality, and that's that's unfortunate. What did happen is that these other communities would sometimes start their own banks and would be open to the populations that they were serving. All right, so it's time to watch a cornet film. We haven't watched one in a while. This is The Little Red Hen.
On this bright summer day, a little girl and her brother are playing in their yard. They have a brand new book to read. They can tell by the picture on the cover that it's a good book. It's the story of The Little Red Hen. As they open the book, let's look at the pictures and hear the story. The little red hen lived on a farm. She had a pretty house with a barn and silo. Around the front yard of the house, there was a white picket fence. The red hen had a family of 3 little chicks. One day, the red hen was coming home, and just outside the gate, what do you think she found? Some fine grains of wheat in a pile on the grass. She looked closely at the wheat, and then she tasted a few grains. It was very good wheat. So the red hen said to her little chicks, "I will plant this wheat. Then it will grow, and we will all have plenty of wheat to make into good, fresh bread." The little red hen wanted some help in planting the wheat. So she went to see her neighbor, the duck. The duck was floating on the water of the beautiful pond where he lived. The red hen hurried to speak to her friend. She said to the duck, "Who will help me plant my wheat?" "Not I," said the duck. "I'm swimming." So the red hen went to see her friend, the cat. She said to the cat, "Who will help me plant my wheat?" "Not I," said the cat. "I'm taking a nap." So the little red hen ran to her friend, the pig. The pig was rooting in the dirt. She said to the pig, "Who will help me plant my wheat?" "Not I," said the pig. "I'm busy." "No one will help," thought the little red hen. "So I will plant the wheat myself." And she did. The red hen went to work and loosened the hard ground so the wheat would grow big and tall. Then she planted her wheat. Weeks went by as the new wheat grew tall. Then it was ready to harvest. The little red hen knew it was time to go to work again. She said, "Who will help me reap the wheat?" "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the pig. "Very well," said the little red hen. "Then I will reap it myself." And she did. The little red hen harvested the wheat, and soon she had a fine big sack full of good wheat ready to be ground into flour. "Who will help me carry the wheat to the mill?" she asked all her friends. "Not I," said the duck. He just wanted to play in the water. Not I, said the cat. He just wanted to play with his catnip mom. Not I, said the pig. He just wanted to eat. Then I will do it myself, said the little red hen. Come, little chicks, hurry. We will carry the wheat to the mill. And they did. The baby chicks went with the mother hen to see the mill. In a very short time, the wheat was ground into flour. The red hen was happy with her big bag of fine white flour. The little chicks were happy too. The little red hen and her happy family hurried home to make bread out of the wheat. On the way home, she stopped to ask all her friends, "Who will help me make the dough and bake it into bread?" "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the pig. "Very well," said the red hen. "I'll go home to my kitchen and do it myself." So she did. First, she mixed the flour into dough, and the little chicks watched her and stayed out of the way while she was so busy. The little chicks were growing hungry when she had the big loaf all ready to put in the oven. In it went. The little red hen closed the oven door and the bread began to bake. The little chicks said nothing smelled as good as fresh bread baking. And it smelled good to the red hen, too. Out at the pond, the duck smelled the wonderful bread. And the cat smelled it, too. No doubt about it. That's fresh bread. I'd better make sure. Finally, even the pig noticed it. "Oh, my, that's good. I'd better go see," said the pig. So the cat and the pig and the duck peeked in the kitchen window. What do you think they saw? The wonderful loaf of fresh bread. Now, the little chicks were very hungry, but they remembered their good manners and waited until they were all served. Then the red hen said, "Now, who will help me eat the bread?" And what do you think happened? "I will," said the duck. "I will," said the cat. "I will," said the pig. And then the red hen saw them. "Oh, no, you won't," said the little red hen. "I will eat it myself. And my little chicks may have some, too, because they are very good children and helped me all they could. We will eat the bread." So they did. And that is the story of the little red hen. Did you enjoy the story? This little girl and her brother did. And they think it'll be fun to read some other stories about hens and chickens. Don't you think that's a good idea? And now do you know what she's going to do? She's going to draw a picture of the little red hen. You can draw a picture of a hen too, can't you? And what other things can you think of to do, now that you know the story of the little red hen?
Somebody noticed they saw the interlacing problem, and it's because I didn't have the telecine set right. I forgot. Anyways, it was crazy. Those kids in that backyard were either in like Los Angeles or Florida, like those big palm trees. Definitely not in Chicago or the Chicago suburb area. So I don't know what the deal with that was, but maybe somebody went on vacation and wrote it off when they shot the film. But pretty great. That cornet look and feel. The fables, like what was the other one? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. There's something kind of great about them. I mean, they're horrifying because they use real animals, and you don't know what the welfare of the animals are. But seeing a chicken in a little tiny kitchen and a pig kind of poking his head in the window somehow gives me great joy. This next film asks, what will you choose?
There are no limitations on whatever you do. Choice to make, a turn to take, path to follow, a dream that flies so high. Looking
everything you're doing today is a step into the future, a future that is yours to choose. I'm Congresswoman Yvonne Brathwaite-Burke, a member of the Representatives from California. When I was 12, I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I did feel that I wanted to help people. So I kept my eyes open, I listened, and I learned. I learned that as an attorney, I could help to get judicial decisions that would improve people's lives. And as an elected representative, as I was when I was in school, I could contribute leadership. Being first an attorney and now a congresswoman was what I chose, what I was looking for. More and more, women as well as men are discovering and pursuing jobs that they like. They're discovering that the possibilities are everywhere. Let's look at a few examples. Job choices some women have made. Debbie Barrera is in the International Bricklayers Union, one of its first women members. Her job is a vital part of the construction trade.
Construction's a wonderful field for a woman. Really it is. It's exciting to be part of building something, and it's always new, you know. You learn something different every day. I worked in an office for a while, but I felt like I was just one of a million girls with typewriters. I wanted to be an individual. I wanted to try something I really liked instead of what was expected of me through tradition. So I called to find out about the union's apprenticeship program, and they accepted me. I guess everybody saw I was really eager, but nobody thought I'd make it. But I can do the work, and I love it. It's hard work, and sometimes it can be really dirty bricklaying or caulking like I'm doing today. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm independent, and I'm good at my job. Working outdoors is great. The wages are about 4 times what I'd be earning in some office, and because I'm in the International, I can go anywhere and find work. Really, there are just about no limitations on what I can do. You can't be yourself if you don't try things. If I hadn't explored, I wouldn't have found my trade, and I'm really glad I did.
Fine crafting is not only a job to Peggy Shipman, it is also a labor of love and art. She is one of the few women violin makers in the world.
One of the things I really love about violin making is that it's extremely old world. The craft has existed since 1600, and it stayed pretty much the same. It's a very constructive occupation. Nothing is torn down or destroyed. Everything we do makes something better, whether it's repairing a fine old instrument or building a brand new one. I was a music major in college and played cello, so I came to know the difference quality workmanship makes in an instrument. As I learned more and more, I began to realize what a goal perfection is. I started work at our shop 4 years ago, and each day it's been an education. Everyone in the shop shares what they learn with everyone else, because we all share the desire to do beautiful work. There's a tremendous joy in working with one's hands, the feeling of manual dexterity, that wonderful smell of varnish and glue, the texture of wood under your fingers, the use of tools. It's actually exciting for me to see new woodworking tools. We collect them all our lives. Really. We could have them wall to wall and it still wouldn't seem like enough. Like old art, these instruments gain beauty with time. There are so many nuances to violin making. It's like music itself. I'm happy that I can create things that will outlive me, beautiful things that will last.
Betty Bonner is one of several women framemen for a telephone company. She connects and disconnects customers' telephones at the main lines and terminals.
When I was looking for work after high school, most girls were becoming teachers and nurses. I worked for a long time in customer service for the phone company, but when jobs in the frames became available, I jumped at the chance to change. Some girls don't like this kind of work, but I like it. Each day I get to work with my hands. I use solder and tools and ladders, and I get to see results. It's challenging, and I like the way I feel tired when the day is over. Going from white collar to blue collar is a switch, but the money is much better, and I have a greater chance for advancement now. Still, I'm lucky. Some companies don't have a training program like the one I used. The best way to be able to choose what you really want is to get a good education. Then you'll have the chance to really look around.
Growing to a management position with a large company has been exciting for Grace Trujillo. As an employment representative, she interviews men and women and places them in jobs for her company's worldwide offices and installations.
Never underestimate what you can do. I was working in a factory, and I didn't have much confidence when I first applied here. But if I hadn't tried, I'd still be selling myself short. I knew some had succeeded, and I said to myself, there's nothing wrong with me. And they hired me. I started as a secretary, but I tried to learn about everything that was going on around me. I took college courses. I volunteered for special projects. And I was moved up.
I was told that really I'm not ambitious enough.
Don, thank you very much for coming.
Really?
It's easy to succeed if you're willing to try. Now, I can understand what candidates are experiencing when they come to apply here for a job. And every day I find it so true that you give yourself a real head start for any job if you have some ideas about what you want when you're young. Then you have time to find out the best way to prepare and the kind of education you will need. My judgment is valued by the company. They consider me a specialist, and that makes me feel real good. It makes me feel good to bring the successful applicant and the employer together to make a match, and that's nice.
Today, everything's so exciting. The art world is open to everyone.
In addition to being a freelance fashion illustrator, Camille Higgins is a self-employed businesswoman. With her partner, she owns an art gallery and design company.
I decided to become a fashion illustrator when I was about 10.
In my free time, I was always drawing. I got a lot of encouragement from my parents, and my school counselors helped me choose a good art school. I was always in constant pursuit of my art. I knew what I wanted, and I went after it. To be successful takes a lot of hard work, practice, and perseverance. Having my own business was always my dream, and that takes even more hard work, dedication, and very long hours. Because we weren't born into the business world, my partner and I are having to learn everything from the bottom up. But it's been fun.
I mean, here it has been developed through weather, and this is just natural. The animal.
When you please a client, when you know you've worked hard and done well, it's very rewarding. I'm growing more and more confident every day, and the combination of my art and my business as a form of personal expression has made me very happy. It's a challenge, but then you can't allow yourself to be afraid. You'll always regret anything you don't try.
As an air traffic controller with the Federal Aviation Administration, Jane Martin combines her love of aviation with technological training to direct air traffic in landings, takeoff, and flight patterns.
0 degrees at east. Cherokee 670, hold short of the runway, landing traffic. I remember when I was 6 or 7 years old, we'd be out for a drive, and I begged my father to stop at the airport so I could watch the airplanes. I was fascinated by flying, and after I finished college, I saved my money and took flying lessons. Flying brought me into contact with people in air traffic control, and I became so interested in that aspect of aviation that when the Federal Aviation Administration started hiring new controllers, I didn't let the opportunity get by me. I applied and made it. Every day there's something new and different. The facility here has both tower and radar positions, and we work in both places. We get good training, and I really like the work. There's a lot of responsibility, but it's a challenge. It's up to us to separate and arrange aircraft within our airspace. It's sort of like a three-dimensional chess game. You need to know about the weather conditions and be able to handle emergency situations. You have to be alert, but it's really nice to learn that you're capable of more than you thought.
I feed into the computer commodity availability and prices and the proper balances of nutrients. The computer replies with the best possible combination.
As linear programming manager for a large milling company, Donna Goodhart uses computers and a knowledge of animal science to formulate livestock feeds.
I never thought when I was in junior high that I'd have a career in animal science. I've always loved animals, but I was really a city girl. In high school, though, I found out that I could get training and a college degree while working with animals. College courses in animal science cover the whole chain of events involved in raising and utilizing livestock. Nutrition, breeding, care and grooming, marketing, and even economics. All of these factors come into play in the job I have now. I'm responsible for coming up with the most economical combinations of ingredients for the production of all kinds of livestock feeds. It is satisfying to work in the field for which I studied, and it's rewarding to be one of the first women in a managerial position in agriculture, and the field's really expanding. But mostly it's good to know that I am, to some extent, responsible for the health and the well-being of animals.
The women you have just seen are doing jobs that they like. It wasn't just luck. Think about it. You can find out a lot about jobs. That's something everyone wants to help you do. Your teachers, your counselors, businesses and unions. Everyone will benefit when you give yourself a chance to discover the job that is right for you. New jobs are created every day. New skills, new minds, and new people are always in demand. Use the time now to learn what you want and to learn how to get it. You can make school work for you. That's really what it's all about. The future is waiting. The choice is yours.
Looking at tomorrow. Looking at tomorrow, what will you choose? There are no limitations on whatever you do. A choice to make, a turn to take, a path to follow, a dream that flies oh so high. Looking at tomorrow, looking at tomorrow.
It was pretty great. Super excited. You know, it's all about opportunities. You know, there's of course then the follow-up ones about working with women. All those Alcoa management series where there's managers who don't know how to deal with women and are biased against them. And then of course the sexual harassment videos that started showing up in the 80s and 90s. But you know, it's great that the opportunities, talking about, you know, expanding horizons and things like that. It's pretty awesome. All right, so this one's going to run a little long, but it's great. It's a safety film, The Smartest Kid in Town.
Homes in towns, a 60-yard pass downfield, or the pretty girl down the block. For Gary, this was a time of searching, of the first steps, and in our country that's pretty good, because we're proud of them. We like to hear folks say what they said about Gary. A nice boy, a bright boy. Gary Price, why, he's the smartest kid in town. To do the best for our children. But we forgot one thing. Nobody ever thought town or taught Gary how to protect himself against the danger of blindness from flying glass or chemicals in a school or home lab accident. The fact is there are thousands of eye accidents to youngsters all over the country, and not only in schools. I know what I'm talking about because I've been a safety engineer most of my life. It's terrible enough to lose an arm or a leg, but somehow to see a boy be blinded for the rest of his life, well, that's almost too much to take. What do you say to parents when their boy's in a hospital unable to see? Terrible? Unfortunate? There's little help in these words. But the Prices are old friends of mine, and I did what I could to comfort them. But help? That's something I couldn't really give them. If anyone needed help, our whole community. I got on the phone that very evening and I called Pat Fisher. Now, Pat's children are still too young for school, but they're not too young to have an eye accident. Pat's interested in what happens in our community, and I knew she'd help in getting an eye safety program started. The next day, I called several community leaders. Art Mitchell, for one. Art's a responsible, community-minded man, and he's on the local Chamber of Commerce. I was sure I could count on his support to change a few things in our town. We arranged a meeting for that night. I started with some facts and figures about eye accidents. A survey made a few years ago shows that we can expect about 150,000 eye accidents to children in the United States each year. Since then, our population has grown. If another survey were done today, the figure would be substantially higher. In our community, a boy had been seriously hurt, possibly blinded for life, and we couldn't shrug it off as just another accident. This accident, like almost could have been avoided by a safety program. And another thing, in any, you can't pass the responsibility for good safety practices on to the next fella. Safety is the obligation of all of us. Parents, teachers, school administrators, business leaders, community-minded people on every level. And I wasn't just talking about schools. Like most lessons worth learning, the lesson of good safety procedures begins right at home. There are many situations where a child risks a serious eye accident if parents neglect to teach them the basic rules of safety, particularly necessary with young children and close supervision. A small child and a pair of scissors can be a deadly combination when not properly supervised. When a child is old enough to start using scissors, be sure the ends are blunt, not pointed. Be sure, too, that you show him how to safely handle scissors. Never leave a young child alone with scissors, pointed sticks, or knives. Not until he's mature enough to be responsible. You might look around and say, well, most children don't have eye accidents. That's true. But it's just as true that thousands of youngsters do, often with the tragic loss of one or both eyes. Parents should be aware of hazards to eyesight in every possible situation and should guard against them. Nowadays, what home doesn't have a supply of sprays and liquids? Although essential for household work, they are potentially dangerous in the wrong hands. The labels on such cans and bottles state the facts plainly, but small children can't read labels. Parents who leave poisons, caustics, or acids standing around within the reach of children invite disaster in the form of a seriously injured eye, or even blindness and death. If by chance a child gets hold of such sprays or liquids, severe reprimands are in order. To your child, as part of his safety education, to yourself, for leaving them within reach. Nobody likes to spoil the fun of youngsters playing games, but it pays to keep an eye on the kind of toys your children play with. A tightly strung bow can launch a sharply pointed arrow with enough force to put out an eye, and a stone oozes so they leave no scar. You can replace a broken tooth, but an eye, once lost, can never be replaced. Imagination and creative powers of children move with wooden swords like this, and the fun can turn to blinding tragedy. In general, even when youngsters are old enough to play by themselves, it's best to keep an eye on them. And it's better, too, to be tough and even temporarily unpopular with the younger generation in order to protect them from their own recklessness. It's important to keep eye safety in mind when shopping for toys. Buying toys and games is a delight for children and one of the pleasures of parenthood. Of course, youngsters will come up with all sorts of suggestions on what to buy. We'll tell you what they think is suitable for play. A time-proven safety rule will be useful here. Match the toy you buy with the maturity and sense of responsibility of the child. Make sure it is sturdily constructed of materials that will not fragment or burn. If in any way the toy you consider buying seems to constitute a hazard to sight, don't buy it. Now that's just good sense and a long step forward on the road to safety. Fourth of July fireworks are a traditional way of celebrating the birthday of our country. But such displays should always be supervised and set off only by skilled professionals. Fireworks in the hands of children are a menace to eyesight, causing many eye injuries and cases of blindness every year. No responsible parent will allow a child to set off such explosives. And that includes the use of sparklers, too. A sparkler, burning with red-hot intensity, can cause tragic blindness if it touches a child's eye. Most boys can hardly wait till they're old enough to own an air rifle. But a BB pellet, shot from a high-pressure gun that is handled by inexperienced and irresponsible hands, can smash an eye as easily as it can this body. The best way of coping with such a menace is through proper supervision and instruction in the use of BB guns and other types of weapons. A gun club, organized and supervised by qualified and authoritative adults, is a sensible and tested way of handling this problem. One more thing. See to it that stringent ordinances are passed and enforced in your community, regulating the use of such guns. Safety is important in home workshops, too. This teenager, souping up his car in the family garage, is lucky. He's got an alert and smart father who's shown him how to protect his eyes against metal filings, oil, battery acids, grease, and dirt. Wiping dirt off a pair of safety goggles is a simple matter, but washing it out of an eye can be complicated, painful, and sometimes unsuccessful. Physical fitness has become a common goal in our country, and that's all to the good. But how about those youngsters who must wear glasses at all times? Are we to keep them out of competitive ball games because their glasses might be smashed and their eyes endangered? Well, that's not necessary if they wear safety glasses. It's always best to replace ordinary lenses with safety lenses, but it's particularly important for boys and girls competing in athletics. Shatter-resistant lenses in safety frames are a must in such situations, and it's the responsibility of parents, teachers, school administrators, and legislators to make such safety glasses mandatory. If you saw a football player dressed like this one, you'd question his sanity. Any student who's going to play this rough, tough game needs personal protective equipment. The regulation uniform consists of shoulder pads, hip pads, a pair of football pants and a jersey, and to protect his face and head, a sturdy helmet. The football coach who permitted him to play with less than this wouldn't hold his job. Doesn't it make sense for students to wear personal protective equipment over their eyes in school shops or labs? Modern schools have lab and shop equipment of many kinds, all of it potentially hazardous to eyesight. Before students start using such equipment, they must be taught the elements of good safety procedures, particularly for the protection of their eyes. There's a type of eye protection for every kind of lab or shop operation. And the safety-minded teacher, backed up by his superintendent and the Board of Education, should insist that it be worn without fail. It takes only a fraction of a second for a blinding accident to occur, and the only safe, sure deterrent is a proper eye or face shield. And if you have any doubts about the effectiveness of safety glass, take a look at this demonstration. Glass that can pound a nail into a solid piece of wood can keep flying objects out of your eyes. Eye protection is as simple as that. Many of the same basic machines used by industry are used in today's schools. Grinders, lathes, power saws, welding outfits, milling machines, foundry equipment. On graduation, most of the students learning their trades and crafts on this equipment will go right into industrial jobs, where the hazards to eyesight will be present every hour of every day during his working life. Doesn't it make good sense, therefore, to instill on-the-job eye safety habits among pupils while they're still in school? Every day in shops and plants across the country, there is a total of nearly 1,000 eye accidents. Many of these are serious, and a tragic percentage result in permanent damage and blindness. safety attitudes that students develop in school will become second nature by the time they're ready for an industrial job, and that's a bonus in accident prevention and site conservation, not only for students, their teachers and families, but for industry as well. It comes down to this simple rule. In every part of the school where there are hazards to eyesight, eye and face protection should never be neglected if sight is to be saved. Every week, the press clippings come into my office, and they make sorry reading. They spell out pain and anguish and permanent darkness for thousands of youngsters. What I was asking for now was the start of a community-wide eye safety program, one that would get the support of every responsible citizen in our town. Now, Gary Price is going home. But home will be as dark as the hospital room, as the street, as the rest of the world. The smartest kid in town may not be working with chemical formulas in the lab anymore. Eyesight is the most precious of all senses. Yet too many of us take it for granted. Not enough of us realize that it must be protected constantly. Is time running out in your town? Will some child in your neighborhood be the next victim of a tragic eye accident? That depends on you. Teach your youngster the basic facts of eye safety. Be vigilant where dangerous toys, BB guns, and fireworks are concerned. If your child must wear glasses, make sure they're safety glasses. And if there's no eye safety program in your community, get one started. See to it that your children and your neighbors' youngsters are properly protected against the threat of blindness in the labs and shops and athletic fields of your schools. Too late for Gary? That may be. But not for those others whose eyesight will be saved if you accept the challenge and the responsibility to conserve sight, to prevent blinding accidents to the children in your community.
Sorry, I was confusing this with another film, which doesn't end so drastically for the main character, the smartest kid in town. But what a great film. And, it's one of these campaign films, and you could see that I think it was the American Legion kind of sponsored it. And so this would be something that they would probably, local chapters of the American Legion would take on this education project and, go to schools and raise money and all that stuff. So, it's not really, the guy in this film didn't really blind himself, so you can rest assured that he's okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in today and joining me for lunch. Very much like to play with your eyeballs in a positive way, not fireworks or BBs or arrows. But if you like what you saw, or you're at least tickled by it, you can buy some coffee. Coffee is the currency that we trade in. The caffeine is what keeps our brains going so that we can remember to cable things correctly and learn new obscure pieces of software so that we can bring you these films. Also, tell the world that you like AV Geeks. Share it with friends and family, and hit like, subscribe. There's a notification bell, I guess, that you ding on some platforms. Comment and share. I mean, those are great ways to kind of support what we do. I should say Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be competing with the Found Footage Festival. Our top 4 songs that you guys help pick are going to go against their top 4 songs, and it's going to be a crazy event. I've got some surprises planned, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to trounce them. They're going to just ground into it. Anyways, I hope everybody has the rest of their day that's good. It's Monday. It's actually nice here in Raleigh, so hopefully it's nice where you are, or at least not annoying. But as always, please rewind and love each other, and we will see you again tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Everybody take care.